Hey, I'm not going to be before y'all long because I'm really just fed up. I wanted to vent because I tried recording the other day and my damn laptop died on me. And that was my fault. I should have checked the charging, but it's almost like you cannot be on your device, whether it's your phone, laptop, whatever, and then it'd be fully charged. Then the moment that you start using it, it'd be dead in like 20 minutes. So that's the one thing that I hate about technology. Because like I said again, I used to, but I was still buying CDs, you know what I'm saying? Because at some point, the internet's going to crash and everything's going to go down. So if we have stuff that are just digital and got to be recharged, we're going to be out back for a little bit. But let me just say this again, as always. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. This is Blair, your Cancer Care Bear. No hair, don't care. All faith, no fear. And I do want to have a moment of silence for all those we have lost this week. My Uncle Shorty, and to the hip hop community and friends and family of Amigos member Takeoff. All right, so really, I really just wanted to talk to y'all again. Those of you who've already been listening, already subscribed, already been following, you already know what I do. Sometimes I like to come out here and express my gratitude, express my frustrations, express just my views on certain things. And you know what it is, in the Blair, divide. But this episode really is just me just getting a couple things off my chest, and I can't say it enough because I say it on my social media pages. I say it to my friends in conversation. I even say it sometimes to God to, just give me strength. We sometimes have to take our minds and remove ourselves from social media and the internet and from everybody. Sometimes we just need a moment of peace, a moment of silence, because it is more powerful than sometimes words that we speak and words that we receive. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you are patient, mindful, still, you can gather up understanding, conviction, and serenity. And it's just starting. I'm at a point now in my life where, like I say again, it's like just being a better man, a better father, a better son, a better brother, a better friend, better all around person. And I know a lot of times, just due to the algorithm, even when I want to sometimes look at certain things going on in entertainment, whether I want to listen to hip hop, whether I want to listen to jazz, whether I want to listen to freaking house music, I need some peace of mind where I don't want to listen to anything but the room. And I'm not just talking about being around a crowd. I'm just talking about the room where it's just silence and quiet. Because when you consume so much of something so fast, you can conform into that energy. Like if I have someone like me, I'm into a lot of different things. Like I will be following up on hip hop, be following up on financials, I'll be following up on sports or fighting, I'll be following up on gaming, I'll be following up on all these things, and then it's just like my mind is just a system overload. And one thing for me is like I don't always put my egg in one basket. Some say we should, but I'm gonna be 100% honest. Like I can't. I'm someone who needs or like to be entertained. Sometimes time to myself can get on my nerves too. But again, with me being a father, and it's like sometimes that's what I need to do. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing, like I will be 100% honest. A lot of times I don't pay the best attention to my son like I should when I have him, because sometimes he'll be on his tablet, I'll be on mine, and we're just kind of just in our own little world. And then when it's time to really go to bed, it's hard to go to bed. I'm sure some of the other people listening can relate to that. But I'm going to be transparent here like always. But, you know, I just wanted to discuss that because, like I said, I was recording, it died. I can't even reload the episode. But it is what it is. We're here on episode 57. Thank you all for listening and subscribing. But moving forward, a lot's been going on. A lot's been happening. Rest in peace, Takeoff. And part of the reason why I have to sometimes I want to remove myself from social media and the internet is because it's just like, it's almost like you want to focus on the positive things. You want to focus on things that is going to really be uplifting. But at the same time, we also have to remember on why we're doing that. There's so much bad going on in the world. We need some peace and we need some serenity. We're not going to find that in these motivational videos. We're not going to find it watching these Tyler Perry spiritual films. And I'm just speaking for myself, so let me not generalize it. But it's just because it's always something that's thought-provoking, and sometimes I just need some peace. And if it wasn't for this podcast, I probably wouldn't even be on social media at all. Even though I'm not posting podcast episodes every day, I am active. I am following what's going on in the world enough to be able to have some content. Sometimes, like I say, sometimes it's just me just ranting, venting, or just expressing views. But I do follow certain things, and it gets exhausted a lot of times. Only because it's like I'm the Care Bear, y'all know, and it's exhausting. Like I can't speak for anybody but myself. I can relate to a lot of things, whether good or bad. I'm an empath. It's like I'm almost all these things, and I want to say it could be God given, but then it's also like maybe it's a curse as well. Maybe I'm just too invested in too many things at one time. But it's like, hey, certain things I just can't help. I don't know how to explain it. That's just me. But it's just sometimes we just need to kind of like just take a moment. All right. Because like I said, you have certain things that you pay attention to, and then it consumes you, where then you start gathering your own opinion, and then you start expressing it looking like a fool. And like I said, the last couple episodes I had addressed Kanye West, and since then he has apologized or whatnot. I mean, it's forgiven, it was forgiven, but at the same time, we have to take into account that people have to be held accountable for what they do. They got to be held accountable for what they say. Regardless of whether they know they're right or wrong, or they don't. To me, I try to have purpose in the directions that I go. Even when I'm venting. Like I said, because I do feel like when I get up here and then I'm on the pod and I share my thoughts and views with you all, that leaves the door open for criticism. That leaves the door open for correction, praise, or whatever it may be. And I welcome it, Because again, I'm a transparent person. I'm honest. I'm open. I will admit when I'm wrong, and I'll admit when I don't know. Sometimes I do not know the direction I'm going with the episodes, because a lot of times I'll have my thoughts and then it just disappears like that. I don't know what the term that is, but I'm sure some people can relate. You know, when you lose your train of thought and can't really get back in the rhythm of it. So, you know, so a lot of times again, I'm not potting just to be potting, but I do feel like I can, you know, be an example of those who don't have the courage to speak publicly. As me, I'm not going to consider myself a public figure. I'm someone who's on social media. I'm a creator. I don't want to consider myself an influencer. I just want to consider myself a student of the world, a student of the game, a father, a human being. You know, I don't really like I don't really like the term influencer, because I think we're all influencers in our own right. Like, right? Okay, I can be technical at times, and I sit here and think about this because once again, like I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and the episode was gonna be released, but then I decided not to release it. I had actually stopped recording our conversation after we had kind of got into the deepness of that conversation, because once again, not everybody can put themselves out there like that. Me, I have stage fright. Me, I have a hard time sometimes speaking in front of a crowd. That's why I do a podding, because once again, I rather be heard, not seen. It's just me. I like to be low key, but I do feel like I have something to say. But the moral point is this: is like it's essential that we rest our minds sometimes. We rest our bodies sometimes. You know, if you are struggling with certain things, like maybe say food, like me, I'm going to use myself as a good example. I have an addiction to food, and I remember I got into it with one of my coworkers about it, and it was like we had gotten to this whole yelling match, and you know him saying it's just about just laziness and discipline, and it's like he can be right, but then at the same time me saying it's just certain things like an addiction. Is like, I'm gonna tell you to be honest, like the reason why my addiction is because it's like, to me an addiction is having a desire for something that you don't necessarily have to. You don't need it, but you still apply it. Like my addiction to food and to a number of things that I won't say right now, but my addiction to food was almost like very harmful to my health, because it's like I would eat and then I would still be hungry. Sometimes I used to eat recreationally, and even oftentimes I catch myself, and that happens because it's like, man, I just want this. It's like, man, I want some honey chicken wings. I want some Chinese food. I want a burger. Sometimes I even have addiction to, ice cream and smoothies and stuff, a little bit more healthier diet. But it's still like, too much of anything, too much of a good thing, a lot of times also can be bad. So it's like sometimes I just want to rest my mind. Like I have just recently went back to, well, I'm not even gonna say, well, I guess you're gonna say I recently went back to church. Even though I went one time, but I've been in this prayer conference, been on this prayer call for the past couple weeks, couple days I've missed it, but for the past couple weeks, um, one of my friends reached out to me and, invited me out to, be a part of this um, prayer conference. We had, we would go on Zoom, we would have prayer every night, every evening, and we would, just listen to the word. And then I went to church last Sunday. Actually, today is Thursday the 3rd. But so, what day was that? Sunday. But it was only because I think I've been out for so long. I wanted to get back and feel a different energy. Because like I say, I'm big on not having to go to church to have a relationship with God. I'm big on not having to, congregate with other people in order to feel His presence. But that's just my personal opinion. But I do oftentimes try to be a little bit more part of a group of believers and faith-based, like-minded folks to, strengthen my faith. Because we're in a time now where we need it. Like, we need God. Like, we always needed God. And as the world continues to change, more of what the devil wants continues to happen. Because it's almost like, again, if you have a strong opinion towards someone or something that is supported or pushed by the powers that be, whether in America, whether in like the high platforms, you will be canceled, and they're coming at you. Like looking at it, and it's like, man, Kanye West is in a sense being canceled, but like he was losing all his deals. And you can say what you want to say as far as what his agenda was, but it's like, regardless of whether he was, he made good points about it. I promise you that the end result was not what he was expecting or wanting. But in hindsight, even just for me, like me being someone who has podcasts, that has social media, and these are platforms that you are being open and transparent about, they're still being monitored and monetized. People are still watching and controlling it. I was actually on Instagram today, and I saw a post, and it was in regards to a woman, and I just commented trash, and it was almost like they was about to censor me saying that, because they said, you can't say anything inappropriately or disrespectful. So now, and I think it's been like that, but it never popped up where it said this comment might be erased or deleted. So it's now it's getting a little bit more serious, because once again, the powers that be, they control the system. So if, you can't even say, and maybe it's just based on the algorithm. Like I said, the internet is a wild place. So if you're expressing something, like if you are making a decision, like if you are making poor decision, like me being a parent and stuff like that, if I make a poor decision that is deemed bad yet someone comments on it saying that it is bad or it is despicable. You can't say it. And it's like, well, dang, I didn't sit here and condemn anyone to hell. I didn't sit here and threaten anyone. So it's just, like I said, everybody has, I don't know who's in control. And that's the thing. Like, this is where I'm at in America. I mean, like I said again, freedom ain't free. There's a price to pay to have freedom. There's a price to pay to say what you want. There's a price to pay to do what you want. So like I said, it's not always a matter of what you think or how you feel. It's about what you do. That's how we all, I feel, should be judged. You know, even like with God, like God knows that we have certain thoughts that might be dangerous and feel certain ways that might be harming, but we're going to be we're going to be judged more on what we do. That's why it's important to be in a certain environment or have that peace of mind where your thoughts can change, where your feelings can change, because a lot of times not everybody will just sustain those thoughts and feelings. Some people will react and move on those feelings and thoughts. And it's just like with anything else, like there's going to be good with the bad. And to me, I feel blessed to be able to have that wisdom and strength, at least to not always subscribe to those thoughts. What's on my mind isn't my mind. Certain things are just, they are coerced. Some certain thoughts are coursed in your mind because of what you see. You know, I'm not a freaking philosopher or nothing, but it's just certain things that I have in my mind, but it's like, that's not me, that's not my mind. Like, our mind consists of things that are not wanted there, things that we see, things that we experience, things that we know, things that we feel. So, and our body is a vessel. So what we put out there in the world, even then, that is core sometimes. I do strongly believe that there's a limit certain people take. Sometimes people don't know what they're doing. Sometimes people don't know what they're saying. That's kind of like a lot of conflicting issues there. Because we talk about mental health and demons and spirits and all that. But, you know, we have to understand why it's happening and how do we change it. But I just feel like we have to, and once again, not to speak for anyone, but just my personal view and opinion, we do need to take a break sometimes. I think the one thing good about podcast allows us to make that decision on what we consume. Because I think if you're listening and you're not subscribed, you can make that decision to subscribe or not. But if it's something that you're listening to and you enjoy it and you like it, you should subscribe, and then you'll be able to keep up with what's going on. Because I'm going to be honest, I do not promote my podcast like I probably should, because I put it up. It's on my site. I leave it on my link tree, and then once I release it, I share it once, and then depending on what it is, I will probably share it again. But I don't promote it as much as I should. A lot of people say, you know, in order to get your numbers up and followers up. You got to post every day, But then other people have other strategies on how you can even, get your following up. Like me being a podcaster, an inspired author, inspired actor, inspired film director, actor, screenwriter. It's very important that I have a following, but again, I'm not going to press or pressure anyone. I would like it. I just allow things to work more organically. And me going through the certain things in my 35 years of life, probably half of that, that's when I was actually like, okay, I'm going to do this and shoot for the stars. Because I'm going to, I'm technical. I'm 35 years old. But for 35 years, I was not into into everything was being done. At one point, I wanted to be a wrestler. At one point, I wanted to be dang, lost my train of thought just now. At one point, I wanted to be, a rapper. At one point, I do a lot of things. I wanted to be a lot of things. I went to college for information technology, for computer draft and design. I got some training in HVAC. I done a lot of number of things because it's like, okay, I like doing these things. And then somewhere down the line, I would like to, get into it again to be able to at least have some type of skill or trade. But my passion is maybe just more so of an expression. Me being a father, I wanted to be a father. That was probably the only prayer that I was ever said, oh, this is what I want to be. Sometimes I would go back and forth, and I think I said this before in the episode. I wanted to, be married at one point. Then I didn't. Then I got married, and then I got divorced, and then I'm like, I don't know if I'll get married again, but it's like I want to. I want to be married again. There's times when I felt like, oh, this person was the one. There's times when I felt like, oh, this is going to ruin me. I'm gonna give y'all. I'm gonna say this one time publicly, and I'm probably not going to ever say it again. And hopefully, I'm not hated by my future wife if she ever hears this. I already had who I wanted to be with for the rest of my life, right? And that didn't go the way that I had prayed, or the way that I wanted, or the way that I liked. That didn't go the way that I had hoped. But I'm not going to say that's the end. I just have to just ask God to redirect me, because at the same time, again, that might just be my personal feelings. And like I said, I had constantly told myself, like, oh, she doesn't want me, she doesn't want to be with me, then I'm not going to be with anyone. I'm just going to be out here and do my thing. And that's going to be it. Because, again, when you're content with something or someone, then that's it. You're sold on that. But again, everything that's in our minds is not our mind. We have our views, we have our opinions, we have our experiences, and that is our truth. And I always said, whatever you believe is right. So I actually have to go. I just pray and hope that everybody listening continue to have that peace in your life where you're not too consumed by what's going on around you. I always say this: life happens. You have to be able to separate life from your life. Certain things we cannot control. However, we can still take the time to remove ourselves from the chaos just to keep our serenity. So thank you all for listening, for allowing me to vent again, express. Again, if y'all have any questions, suggestions, requests, please, you know what to do. This is Blair. Y'all stay safe, prosperous, productive, and positive. I'm out.